She stood in the gas station parking lot, phone pressed to her ear, demanding officers arrest the woman filling up for free. Her voice dripped with authority as she recited municipal codes and threatened lawsuits. But when the patrol car pulled up and the window rolled down, her face went white. The officer stepping out wasn't just any cop. He was her husband. Marcus Chen had been filling his neighbor's tank when the silver Mercedes pulled up 3 spaces away. He didn't look up at first. His attention stayed fixed on the pump, watching the numbers climb as Mrs. Patterson sat in her weathered Honda, hands folded in her lap. She tried to refuse his offer twice already that morning. The third time, he'd simply taken her keys. "Marcus, this is too much," she'd said, her voice thin with embarrassment. "It's nothing. You drove my daughter to every soccer practice last season when I was working doubles." The pump clicked off at $42. He replaced the nozzle and screwed her gas cap back on, then tapped the roof of her car twice. Mrs. Patterson's eyes were wet when she lowered her window. "You're a good man. You're a good neighbor. Drive safe." She pulled away slowly, and Marcus turned toward his own truck. That's when he noticed the woman standing beside the Mercedes, phone already at her ear, staring directly at him. She was probably 50, with blonde hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. Her pantsuit was cream-colored and spotless despite the gas station grime. Diamond studs caught the morning light. Everything about her screamed money and the kind of confidence that came with it. Marcus nodded politely and headed for his truck. "Excuse me." Her voice cut across the parking lot like a blade. "I need you to stay right where you are." He stopped, hand on his door handle. "Can I help you?" "I've just reported you to the police. What you did is illegal, and I witnessed the entire transaction." Marcus blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" She took 3 steps toward him, phone still pressed to her ear. "You heard me. Transferring gasoline without proper licensing, operating an unlicensed fuel distribution service, possible tax evasion. I know the municipal codes. I sit on the Homeowners Association board, and we take community standards very seriously. I helped my neighbor fill her tank with my credit card." "Oh, so you admit it," she smiled, sharp and cold. "The police are on their way. I suggest you wait here unless you want to add fleeing the scene to your charges." Marcus felt something heavy settle in his chest. He'd dealt with difficult people before. 23 years on the force taught you patience. But there was something about her tone, the casual cruelty of it, that made his jaw tighten. "Ma'am, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "There's no misunderstanding. I saw you take that woman's money and pump her gas. That's an unlicensed commercial transaction on private property. It's also probably insurance fraud since you're using equipment you're not authorized to operate." "She didn't give me any money." The woman's eyebrows rose. "Oh, so now you're changing your story? Even worse. That makes it charity fraud. Do you have a registered nonprofit? Are you reporting these donations to the IRS?" A young guy pumping gas 2 islands over had stopped to watch. An older man getting coffee inside the convenience store pressed his face against the glass. Marcus recognized him as Bill Hoffman, who lived 4 streets over. "Ma'am, I really think you should hang up that phone." "Absolutely not. In fact, I'm giving them your description right now." She turned slightly away, speaking into her phone with exaggerated clarity. "Yes, officer. Male, approximately 40, 6 feet tall, Asian descent, wearing a blue jacket and jeans. He's still here. Dark blue pickup truck, license plate David Charlie Victor 4729. Marcus closed his eyes briefly. His own license plate, his own truck, this was actually happening. "I want to press full charges," she continued. "This kind of behavior is exactly what's wrong with our community. People think they can just do whatever they want, break whatever laws they feel like with no consequences. Well, not on my watch." The patrol car pulled into the gas station 3 minutes later, lights off but moving with purpose. Marcus watched it approach, hands visible at his sides. Old habits. The woman's smile widened. "Finally, officer, thank goodness you're here, this man." The driver's door opened. Police Chief Daniel Reed stepped out, 6'4" and broad-shouldered in his uniform, his weathered face utterly expressionless. The woman's voice faltered, "Daniel." Reed's eyes moved from his wife to Marcus, then back to his wife, Catherine. The color drained from her face like someone had pulled a plug. What are you doing here?" "You called 911 and reported a crime in progress. They dispatched me because I was 2 blocks away." His voice was flat, professional, the voice he used for drunk drivers and domestic disturbances. "What seems to be the problem?" Catherine's mouth opened and closed twice before words came out. "This man was operating an illegal fuel distribution service. I saw him take money from a woman and pump her gas. He's not licensed, he's not insured, he's breaking multiple municipal codes." "He didn't take any money from her," Reed said. "How would you know? You weren't here." "Because I know him." Reed turned to Marcus and something shifted in his expression. Not quite a smile, but close. "Chief Reed, good to see you, Chief Chen." The words hung in the air like smoke. Catherine's face went from white to red. "Chief." "Catherine, this is Marcus Chen. He retired as police chief of Oakland 3 years ago. He consulted on our department's community policing initiative last year. He's probably forgotten more about law enforcement than most officers ever learn." Reed's voice remained even, but there was an edge to it now. "And he was helping his elderly neighbor fill her tank with his own money because she's on a fixed income and he's a decent human being." The young guy at the other pump had his phone out now, recording. Marcus could see the camera pointed their direction. Catherine's hand tightened on her phone. "I didn't. How was I supposed to know?" "You weren't supposed to know. You were supposed to mind your own business." Reed's jaw worked like he was chewing something bitter. "Or, at the very least, you were supposed to actually understand the laws you were citing before you called 911 and wasted department resources on a made-up emergency." "It wasn't made up, I thought." "You thought you saw someone breaking the law, so you immediately called the police without asking a single question or using an ounce of common sense." Reed took a breath, visibly forcing himself to stay calm. "Do you have any idea how many actual emergencies might have gone unanswered while I responded to this?" "Don't you dare speak to me that way." "I'm speaking to you the way I'd speak to anyone who filed a false report." Reed's voice could have cut glass. "Which is what this is starting to look like." Marcus cleared his throat. "Chief Reed, it's fine. It was an honest mistake." Both of them turned to look at him. Catherine's expression was pure venom. Reed's was something more complicated. "Marcus, you don't have to cover for her." "I'm not covering. I'm just saying it's handled. No harm done." He looked at Catherine directly. "But ma'am, in the future, maybe give people the benefit of the doubt before you try to have them arrested." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The fury in her eyes said everything her voice couldn't. Reed sighed heavily. "Catherine, go home. We'll talk about this later." "You can't order me around like one of your officers." "I'm not ordering you. I'm strongly suggesting that you leave before you make this situation worse than it already is." He paused. "Please." She stared at him for a long moment, then at Marcus, then back at her husband. Without another word, she spun on her heel, stalked to her Mercedes, and peeled out of the parking lot hard enough to leave rubber on the asphalt. The silence she left behind was deafening. Reed rubbed his face with both hands. "I am so sorry." "Don't be. You didn't do anything wrong." "Yeah, but I married her." The words came out before Reed could stop them. He winced. That was inappropriate. Marcus shrugged. "I've been married, I get it." The young guy with the phone was still recording. Bill Hoffman had come out of the convenience store and stood near the entrance, watching with undisguised interest. Reed noticed them both and straightened his shoulders, professional mask sliding back into place. "For the record, Chief Chen, Thank you for your service to Mrs. Patterson and to this community. What you did today was exemplary citizenship." Reed's voice carried across the parking lot, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Anyone who says otherwise doesn't understand the first thing about what it means to be a good neighbor." Marcus nodded. "Appreciate it, Chief." They shook hands and Reed returned to his patrol car. As he pulled away, the young guy finally lowered his phone. Bill Hoffman walked over, shaking his head. "That was Catherine Reed." "Apparently." "Jesus, poor bastard." Bill glanced toward the street where the Merceds had disappeared. "Though between you and me, I'm not sure which one of them I feel sorrier for right now." Marcus climbed into his truck without answering. His hands shook slightly as he gripped the steering wheel, not from fear or anger, from something else entirely. The look on Catherine Reed's face when she'd realized who she was talking to. The humiliation, the rage. He'd seen that look before, on 100 different faces in 100 different situations. It never ended well. Marcus sat in his truck for a full minute, engine idling, trying to shake the feeling that this wasn't over. That Catherine Reed wasn't the type of person who accepted humiliation quietly. Finally, he put the truck in gear and headed home. He didn't see the black sedan that pulled out 3 cars behind him, following at a careful distance. The first sign of trouble came 2 days later, when Marcus found the citation tucked under his windshield wiper. He'd parked in front of his house the same way he had for 3 years. The same spot, red curb clearly visible 10 feet ahead, yellow curb 20 feet behind. Legal parking by any measure. The citation claimed he'd blocked a fire hydrant. The nearest hydrant was 40 feet away. Marcus stood in his driveway, reading the ticket twice to make sure he wasn't missing something. The officer's signature was illegible. The badge number looked smudged, but the fine was clear enough, $350. He called the non-emergency police line and spent 20 minutes on hold before reaching someone who could look up the citation. The woman on the other end sounded bored. "Says here you were parked within 15 feet of a fire hydrant on Oak Street." "I wasn't. I've measured it. It's 40 feet. "Do you have photographic evidence?" "I can get some." "You'll need to submit that with your contest form within 14 business days, along with a sworn affidavit and any supporting documentation. There's a $50 processing fee regardless of outcome." Marcus thanked her and hung up. $50 to fight a $350 ticket that shouldn't exist in the first place. He pulled out his phone and took pictures of his truck, the hydrant, the distance between them. He'd dealt with bureaucratic nonsense before. This was annoying but manageable. The second citation came the next morning. Illegal parking in a residential zone during street cleaning hours. Oak Street didn't have street cleaning. Marcus called again. Different person, same bored tone, same instructions. Another $50 processing fee. He took more pictures, filed more paperwork. The third citation arrived on Thursday. Expired registration. His registration was valid through March. This time when he called, the woman on the phone paused longer before responding. "Sir, I'm showing multiple citations issued to your vehicle over the past week. You might want to come down to the station and speak with someone in person." "Who's issuing these tickets?" "I don't have that information available." "Can you transfer me to a supervisor?" "They're in a meeting. I can take your number and have someone call you back." No one called back. Marcus spent Friday morning at the police station, waiting in a plastic chair while various officers walked past without making eye contact. When someone finally called his name, it was a desk sergeant who looked about 12 years old. "Says here you've contested 4 citations in the past week." "Because they're all fraudulent. I wasn't parked illegally any of those times." The sergeant clicked through screens on his computer, frowning. "I'm not seeing any notes about fraudulent tickets, just that you've submitted contests." "Who issued them?" More clicking. Different officers on different shifts. Looks like regular patrol citations. Can I speak to those officers? They're not available right now. When will they be available? The sergeant's expression went carefully neutral. Sir, I understand you're frustrated, but the process for contesting citations is clearly outlined on the city website. If you believe the tickets were issued in error, you need to follow the proper channels. Marcus leaned forward. I am following the proper channels. I'm here in person trying to talk to someone about this. And I'm telling you what the process is. They stared at each other for a long moment. The sergeant didn't blink. Marcus left the station with 4 unresolved citations and a growing certainty that something was very wrong. He sat in his truck in the parking lot and called the one person he thought might give him a straight answer. Daniel Reed answered on the 3rd ring. Chen, how are you? I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. A pause, okay. Have you noticed anything unusual about citations being issued to my vehicle? The silence that followed told Marcus everything he needed to know. Daniel, where are you right now? Your parking lot. Stay there, I'm coming down. Reed appeared 5 minutes later, out of uniform, wearing jeans and a department polo. He climbed into the passenger seat of Marcus's truck without asking and closed the door. Show me the tickets. Marcus handed them over. Reed went through them one by one, his expression darkening with each page. Jesus Christ. So it's not just me being paranoid. No, Reed's voice was rough. It's not. Is it her? Reed didn't answer immediately. He stared at the citation in his hand, jaw working. I can't prove anything, but yes, I think so. She knows people. She's been on the HOA board for 8 years. She's connected with half the city council, the mayor's office, probably a dozen other organizations I don't even know about. Reed looked at Marcus. She's also vindictive as hell when she thinks someone's made her look bad. I didn't make her look bad. She did that herself. Doesn't matter. In her mind, you humiliated her in public, and Catherine doesn't forget things like that. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. So what do I do? Officially, keep contesting the tickets, document everything, file a formal complaint if you want, though I'll warn you it probably won't go anywhere. Reed hesitated. Unofficially, watch your back, because this is just the beginning. The beginning of what? Reed met his eyes. Whatever she thinks you deserve. The citation on the windshield Saturday morning was for parking in a disabled spot. Marcus's truck had been in his own driveway all night. He hadn't moved it once.